Bhavatanha Vibhavatanha Idam ko manabhikkave Dukkha nirodham Ariya Satcham.
Good evening, Dhamma friends. Let me wish you a very happy and peaceful evening with Dhamma learning. Today is August 26th, Saturday. The time is 8 p.m. We are going to begin this evening Sutta study class with wholesome thought in mind. Tomorrow we are going to have full moon day practice, and this Sutta study is a perfect setting for us to discover the Dhamma and explore the Dhamma for the benefit of everyone, so that from our side it is so beneficial. I know that you also discover Dhamma with your capacity on everyday basis, and depending on that you stay calm and peaceful and wise, and the thing you do in the name of Dhamma discovery help you continue your practice to the peak of the Dhamma training. So with that in mind, let me begin the Sutta study for today. I just want to welcome you all with wholesome tone, and that has been done. It's so much wholesome energy in me, and I know that you also have that wonderful energy in you to learn the Dhamma, to share the Dhamma. So let us begin the Sutta studies by paying homage to the Supreme Buddha, by reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times in Pali and also in English. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So friends, this week Sutta study focuses a relatively small discourse from Anguttara Nikaya section 5, Sutta number is 26. From the flyer I sent, you know what this sutta is. It is called Vimuttayatana Sutta. Now, our Dhamma friends are very keen to understand the content of the discourse. With the title of the discourse, many discourses are like that. Sometimes we have suttas by the person's name. Sometimes we have suttas title with the Dhamma facts we are going to discuss in the sutta. Sometimes sutta sadhya with the combination of the Dharma in the sutta as well as the place name. So anyway, this sutta is showing us by its title that something about freedom is called, and also the ways to freedom, Vimuttayatana Sutta. That one of the translation is the discourse on the grounds for freedom. It could be either ways of freedom. No matter what translation you follow, you have to understand the meaning of the discourse. After two very analytical discourses such as Mahavedalla and Chulavedalla, I thought of selecting this discourse because it encourages us in our Dhamma, in our practice, because it shows that not a particular way, one way we have to enter into the Dharma. We have a couple of ways in enter into the Dharma. In other words, to gain vimukti or liberation, we can have few avenues. It doesn't mean that you have to practice all, but each and every individuals has different ways and different taste in the Dhamma, so that you can select whichever way you like most, and whichever way you like, you have skills more, so that it is wonderful to have this kind of discourses to encourage us to practice the Dhamma. It's not a discourse like a discussion between two monks or group of monks. It is direct interaction with the Buddha by some monks. So I think this discourse open up this wonderful teaching about different avenues. So let's go into the discourse. Despite the length of the discourse, the Dhamma elements it provides us is so important. Let's go into the reading first. Because there are these 5 grounds for freedom, the Buddha said, spiritual freedom, by which the unliberated mind of a monk, dwelling, heedful, ardent, exertive, find freedom, or by which the mental influxes, not wholly destroyed, become wholly destroyed, where the untrained, unsurpassed safety from the yoke is attained. What are the 5 ways? I like the Pali of this. It's called Panchimani Bhikkave Vimuttayatana Yatta Bhikkhuno Apamatta Satapino Pahitasa Virtua Vimuttang Va Chittang Vimucchati Aparikkina Va Asava Parikyang Gacchanti Ananuppantang Va Anuttarang Yoga Kemang Anupapunati. The simple meaning is, monks, I'm going to tell you 5 ways, 5 ways to destroy cankers or asavas for those who have not yet attained any stage of enlightenment. Simply, it is the meaning. So when the bhikkhu or bhikkhuni or lay upasaka upasika has not gained any stage of enlightenment, so that they need to strive on the noble path. So when they strive on the noble path, what happened to them is such that they destroy the asavas. So in order to do that and attain nirvana, yoga kema, or whatever you practice, and that's the end of all the practice, that's called yoga kema, or attain nibbana. So you have 5 ways, the Buddha said, Katamani Pancha. So these are the 5 ways. First one is about experiencing the Dhamma through listening. In other words, experiencing the Dharma or wisdom through deep listening. We know the fact that attainment to any stage of enlightenment takes place by cutting off of fetters. There are 10 fetters. That's the easiest way to tell how one can attain to Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arhansip. There are other ways to tell it. You can say that all the asavas are gone, then you become a fully enlightened person. All the upadana is gone, so that you have no upadana, there you are in Nibbana. You can tell that the Noble Eightfold Path is completed into a certain extent, so that you attain to Sotapanna. Once you fully gone through all the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path and attain enlightenment, you can say completion of understanding the 4 Noble Truths, you are in Nirvana. So you can tell it in different ways, but easiest way for us to show how one can attain Sotapanna and what type of kilesa or the Sangyojanas one break. So you take the 10 Sangyojanas. So when you attain to any stages of enlightenment, what needs to be done to do that? So this sutta tells us those different ways. The first one is the deep listening. Let me go into details later, but first I will tell you those 5 ways of liberation. First one is liberation through listening. And the second one is while teaching. You can become a teacher of Dhamma. You can deliver the Dhamma to somebody who are interested, and while teaching, you reflect the Dhamma in such a way and break those unwholesome state of mind completely and attain enlightenment. That's the second one. First one while listening, second one while teaching. The third one is while reciting. While reciting the Dharma, you reflect the Dharma in such a way so that the cankers are broken down completely and attain enlightenment. And the fourth one is reflecting the Dharma. It's called wise thinking too. We go into details of that as well. And the last one is through bhavana. So these are the pancha vimuttayatana, 5 ways of approach to the right Dhamma. Don't think that these are 5 ways of nirvana or so on. These are a kind of port that we enter into. These are kind of avenues or the ways or approaches to the Dharma. Okay, so now we go into details, and with details we can go into nice discussion. Here, bhikkhus, the teacher, it means basically the Buddha or a certain colleagues in the holy life. It could be or the Buddha or your teacher or someone you consider as kalyana, right? In the role of a teacher, whoever it is, when he or she teaches Dhamma, it is your teacher. It could be your friend, it could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your son or daughter, whoever it is. When he or she speaks the Dhamma, it could be your teacher, or he or she plays the role of your teacher, Dhamma teacher. So he teaches or she teaches the Dharma to someone, to you or to anyone. Then what happened? Even as the teacher or certain colleagues in the holy life, in the role of a teacher, teaches the Dhamma in whatever ways to the monk, the listener, now listener feels listener feels joyfully inspired by the meaning and also by the Dharma in just that way. Like this is the very Pali statement there. I would read that. Ida bhikkave bhikkhu satta dhammang desedi anyatarowa garuttaniyo sabrakmachari. The Buddha or any teacher you keep as your teacher or friend, Dhamma friend, they are teaching the Dharma. Dhammang deseti yata yata bhikkave tassa bhikkhuno satta dhammang deseti. So whatever the Dhamma they teach, so tasming dhamme, so when the teacher or the Buddha or the teacher teaches the Dhamma, tasming samaye dhammang atta patisangvedicha hoti dhamma patisangvedicha. The listener, the student, you and me, it could be you and me, we listen to the Dhamma by reflecting the meaning of the Dhamma, and also the what it call we have the joy in mind because we know the meaning of the Dhamma and also the right Dhamma, absolute Dhamma in that. For example, if one of your friends talk about Dharma, so there you reflect it, you listen to it, and there is a joy arises in you because of listening. Why this joy come to you? Because you know the very meaning, very intention of the Dharma that he speak, and you also apply it with your experience. So that's why Atta Patisangvedi, Dhamma Patisangvedi. The very word Dhamma Patisangvedi, it is in line with the Dharma as the Buddha taught. You realize that. And Atta Patisangvedi, you actually mean the Dhamma based on the Dharma itself. In other words, through my, this is my personal interpretation. When somebody teach the Dharma, you exactly know what the Buddha said. That is called Dhamma Patisanga. We become familiar with the Buddha's teaching exactly as they are in the Sutta and Vinaya. Then we apply it according to our experience. That's called Atta Patisanga. So we know the meaning, we know how to apply that particular Dhamma in the Sutta according to our wishes. Because suppose two people are listening to the same Dhamma, Dhamma talks, and the way I understand the Dhamma is different from the person next to me, because we are two different individuals. So the text should be one, and the way we understand two ways, because we mix our experience. So we should have both. So this says here, he or she feels that joy, that's inspiration, because he or she knows the meaning of the goal and feels joyfully inspired by the Dharma there. Feeling joyful inspired by the meaning and feeling joyful inspired by the Dharma, something is going on in your mind. When you know the meaning of the Dhamma and the Dharma itself, there, gladness arises. Gladness, pamujjang jayati. Pamujja means gladness. Your mind is gladdened by the very Dhamma sermon, because it talks about the truth, and that truth is applied to you, so that your mind is glad now. Pamuditassa jayati. Gladness arises in you. And as a result of this gladness, or due to this gladness, or from gladness, pamuditassa piti jayati. Rapture arises in you. Gladness is a kind of initial happiness. It comes at once when you know that you listen to the right teaching and you understand it, so that you feel good. You feel good. When you have that good feeling, and when you continue that good feeling in you, piti arises, rapture. Rapture is more advanced happiness, because you listen to the Dhamma for a certain period of time, you sustain that rapture, pamojja into and turn into a rapture. And piti manasa kayang pasambati. Because of that rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. Pasambati. Pasambati means you feel that tranquility in you. Because of that rapturous mind, your body become tranquilized. Passadda kayo sukhang vediyati. Next level is feeling happiness, feeling sukha. When we come to this state, your both body and mind has come to a certain level where there is no pain, no stress, no frustration. Physically and mentally, you are in a perfect position. Sukhang vediyate. Sukhas, then it says, when the body is tranquil, he feels happy. Sukhang vediyate. Sukhino chittang samadhiyate. When you have that sukha, there you feel samadhi, there you complete actually samadhi. What we are talking about, how to attain samadhi. Sukhino chittang samadhiyate. In other words, this is talking about how to attain, we don't see, the Sutta says that you go to a meditation subject like usually people do, and stay there with the meditation subject and suppress hindrances, attain jhana, first jhana, there you have this and that. So we don't have that method discussed in the discourse, but the same thing happened in a different way, because you are listening to the Buddha or a monk or a layperson who are teaching Dhamma for you, and while listening you come to know that this is exactly the Buddha's word, the Dharma. So you find the right tune of the Dhamma, mixing your experience with the Dhamma, Atta Patisangvedi, So you have gladness, you are in gladness, you have that rapture, and it helps to increase your mind further on the same line, so that you have tranquility, and then sukha, and then you are in samadhi. When you have pamojja, piti, passaddhi, sukha, that means they are jhana qualities. Savitakang vivekajang piti sukha. So it has piti sukha in the first jhana. So here we have a lot of explanation here. Gladness, pamojja, then piti is always there in the jhana, then passaddhi. Passaddhi is been also talking jhana, but that word is not there. Then sukha is there in the jhana, first jhana, and samadhi. Of course, samadhi is there with jhana. So this is what happened. Then Buddha said, because this is the first ways for liberation or freedom, where the untrained mind of a monk dwelling heedful and exertive find freedom. So this is the first Vimuttayatana. So in order to liberate yourself from this sansara, the first thing you need to do is to listen to the teacher, listen to the Dharma delivered by the Buddha, delivering by the Buddha, or your teacher, or your Kalyanamita, and so forth. That's the first Vimuttayatana. Isn't this has a connection with the Kalyanamita and also Saddhammasavana? Yes, we know from various sources that one has to gather 4 qualities to attain Sotapanna. Kalyanamita Sevana, Saddhammasavana, Yoniso Manasikara, and Dhammanudhamma Patipatti. This factor is now going with the first couple of factors of Sotapanna, finding a right teacher and listening to the right Dhamma. So this again shows that even Venerable Kondanya and other 4 monks, Venerable Sariputta, Moggallana, I can tell a number of names, they attain to stages of enlightenment while listening to the Buddha. They did this into a greater extent. That's why they were able to cut off those hindrances. So that is the first Vimuttayatana. Then I just want to go to the second one, though this discourse is shorter. Details are there to discuss in a lengthy way. The second one is teaching the Dharma. Perhaps this may be relevant to all the bhikkhus and also some lay followers who can teach other people. There are individuals who learn the Dhamma very much so that they have enough confidence to teach others. So, therefore, this is relevant to them as well. So, furthermore, bhikkhus, neither the teacher nor a certain colleagues in the holy life, in the role of a teacher, teaches the Dhamma to a monk. Not that, first of all, when the Buddha said the second one, he said, not the first one. We don't have the situation which has the first one talk about. But he himself teaches the Dharma in details to others, just as he has heard it, just as he has mastered it in theory, in this way and that way. So when you or we teach the Dharma, there we have the chance of reflecting the Dharma we talk about, right? I now talk about the Dharma in the form of a teacher's position, and when you start talking, you also play that role. So we know basically that this happened to us. Sometimes we read the suttas, we don't understand the whole meaning, but when we go to teach it to somebody, we realize. I know many of you have done presentation in your life so many times. When you get prepared for the presentation with notes and this and that, you are not that fully confident about what you are going to say. Or you have an idea of what the lecture would be about. But when you start with those wonderful terms and make people familiar with you. So you realize this is the best way I could say. Perhaps that way you teach would be not the way you plan, because you realize on the spot while you are doing the lecture, this is the best way I should turn. Sometimes you miss so many things you prepared because you feel they are not good, they are not in the flow, so that you change your style of talking, you change certain points you plan for because you feel that this is going well. Likewise, likewise, when you teach the Dhamma, you realize more. You realize hidden points of the same very fact you were working so hard. So that's how it is. So the Venerable Kemaka, who got into the Anagami state, as I remember, while he was teaching. And there were such incidents happened as example for this fact. When you teach Dhamma, you can make your mind happy. Let's forget about this fact, but in experience, we can say that we are joyful when we discuss the Dhamma, because we know one sense we know that it is the Buddha's teaching, and we have no doubts about what we are talking about. So that at the same time we see people benefit from it. People are happy. People have forgotten their problems with this Dhamma talk I do, so that makes you happy as well. So that basically your mind is in happiness when you are in the Dhamma teaching. So I think this is one of the wonderful things in the Dhamma. So while you are teaching Dhamma, you feel that joy inspired by the meaning and also the Dharma. So gladness arises in you, and depending on gladness, rapture arises in you. Depending on rapture, tranquility arises in you. Depending on tranquility, sukha or happiness arises in you. With sukha, you have samadhi. So see, the gradual progression into samadhi is taking place while you are teaching. So I think we can discuss them. In order to bring your mind into this state gradually, you have to have a very detailed Dhamma sermon. I think Anupubbikata Dhamma Desana, gradual teaching of the Dharma, could be there for you to feel happy while you are teaching, while you are listening. So stages by stages you go. In those days, I mean, in the king's time, where Dhamma sermon took place for several hours, they have enough time and space to think and analyze, and there is a short break, so you mastered on what you heard, then you compare them, so that you have enough time. I don't say that even 5 minutes uh, is not enough for somebody to gain these kind of mental achievements. Of course you can, but it happens very rarely. Those people who listen to or teach the Dhamma would be very genius people. So I think extended version of Dhamma discussion, extended version of nice Dhamma sermons could help people to have this kind of experience. So gladness arises, then rapture arises, then tranquility arises, then happiness, sukha arises, and that mind leads to the completion of samadhi. Because gladness and rapture, tranquility, and sukha, they are jhana qualities. So you are in the jhanic experiences when these things happen. So Buddha said this is the second ground for liberation. This is the second way of freedom for somebody who has not attained to freedom yet. This is so far talking about making our mind ready for deep reflection. So far, while you are listening, while you are teaching, you clear your mind into samadhi. In other words, you direct your mind to gain samadhi. With samadhi, we know samahitan chittang yatabhutam pajanati. With concentrated mind, with the mind with samadhi, your mind is still so that you can actually reflect the reality. We had a lot of discussion whether we do this reflection while we are in deep samadhi or come out of samadhi or in the middle of the samadhi, and so we have discussed that. I think Vinivarana Chitta, the mind away from hindrances, is the perfect mind for somebody to do vipassana, to see things as they are on five aggregates of clinging, is called vipassana. And we don't see in the text that someone in the jhanic experiences and do that vipassana quite quickly from there, because a lot of people stay there longer, and when you stay there longer, you feel no joy at all with the samadhi. It doesn't mean that you don't have piti pamoja. What happened there was, it's generalized. You see that the jhanic experience is also impermanent. While you are in jhana, you can have that taste. For example, suppose you like particular food so much. When you eat it for several days, for 3 meals, you feel fed up with that. Still you have the food that you like most while you eat it, but you don't feel that joy anymore. Likewise, when you attain to first jhana, second jhana, fourth jhana, and so forth, you can easily do it, but you don't feel that inspired, joyful state at all, because it's something very common to you now. So that's the particular moment you can reflect anicca on jhana mind, on jhanic state, and you feel that this is still conditioned, because jhana samadhi is a conditional state. It's a sankhara. So what is the nature of sankhara? Is impermanent. Sabbe sankhara anicca. It comes under sabbe sankhara anicca. So that you are going to attain that imperturbable state of mind. So and that's the path for cutting off of all the hindrances and not the kilesa. That's the perfect way to vipassana. That's one way. So friends, we have covered two aspects so far. The third one is, it says, reciting the Dhamma, wisdom through wise reflection. Let me read that part. Furthermore, because neither the teacher or your friend teaches you Dharma, nor you teach, not the first one, not the second one, but he himself recite the Dharma in details to others, just as he has heard it, just as he has mastered it in theory. When that happened, there you feel you have that feeling inspired by the meaning of the Dhamma and the Dhamma itself, so that your mind associate gladness. When gladness arises in you, it leads to arise rapture. Depending on rapture, with rapture in mind, you have tranquility. With tranquility, you have sukha. With sukha, you gain perfect samadhi. So the very thing we do is reciting, right? That's why reciting is important. I like reciting very much. When I recite Girimananda Sutta, the Sutta delivered to the monk Girimananda, it has 10 perception. I feel so joyful. And when I recite Karnametta Sutta, or any Sutta I recite, I can gain that freedom kind of happiness. So those who do not know the meaning of chanting may be thinking that this is useless, spending time for nothing. But friends, reciting Dhamma is a wonderful thing, because you mindfully recite so that your mind is not anywhere else with the recitation. Ekaggata, your mind has achieved one pointedness towards reciting. And if you are a skillful person to know what you are reciting with meaning, there's a double chance of your chance is going to be very high to gain the meaning and also that tune. In this regard, I just want our people, the meaning our people means all the people who we usually associate. Recite not silently. Recite it at least for you to hear your voice. When we ask people to say Namo Tassa to observe 5 precepts, we don't hear some people say it because they do not know the importance of reciting. At least recite it for you to hear your voice. When you hear your voice, it helps you calm down your mind. It's just like cycle. You think and recite, and you listen to what you recite from here, and it helps mind to be calmed down. It's like it's working like a cycle, so that your own voice can heal your mind. So that please remember this: when you recite gathas alone, recite it for you to hear your voice, and when you are in the group, recite this with the same volume, because not sometimes your calmness is achieved through others' voice, but sometimes it helps your voice to be heard by somebody else too, because you listen to others, so that you achieve calmness. So let others to you hear your voice too. Perhaps your voice is much more beautiful and calmer than somebody else's voice. So that, friends, when you do recitation, do it in a way you could listen, so that everybody is benefited from that. So see, you recite and you know the meaning. For that, you have to read those discourses, at least triple suttas like Mangala Sutta, Katana Sutta, Karnimita Sutta, Girimananda Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Satipatthana, the wonderful piece of Dhamma to recite. So while you are listening, you reflect the Dhamma, you find your right tune in the Dhamma, so that gladness arises, then piti arises, tranquility arises, then sukha arises. Oh my goodness, you are in samadhi, so peaceful. All the stress is gone, and then your mind is centered on you. Shraddha arises on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So much happiness is there. I think that happiness could not be gained by anything else. Sometimes even sicknesses like bodily pain, headache, maybe stressful situation, they are all gone. So that's working. It's a mental therapy actually. So the Buddha finally said at the end of this is the third ground for freedom. Third ground for freedom. The fourth one is about wise thinking. It says like this. Suppose you don't have the first one, that's mean interaction with the teacher. Teacher is teaching Dhamma and you are listening. The second one you are teaching. The third one you are reciting. And the fourth one is this. He himself applies his mind to the Dharma, sustain the thought and mentally attain to it, just as he has heard it, just as he has mastered it in theory. So basically, something you already know is taken up and started pondering and thinking. This is quite yoniso manasikara. You take the Dhamma and try to put it into reflection again. For example, you read a sutta in a leisure time, and later on, while you are maybe driving, while you are sitting in the couch in the open air, oh, you remember that sutta. So step by step, you reflect it. So as a result, gradually, you gain that inspiration of the Dhamma because you know the meaning, you know the Dharma there. So gladness arises, piti arises, then tranquility arises, sukha arises. So you are in samadhi. So you see how your body and mind transform from normal average state to a super peaceful state. That happened because of your right thinking. So far we have been discussing four. With any of these, what has happening in us? Applying sammaditi, applying samma, samma sankappa, sammaditi, right view, right thinking, right concentration, right effort, all right mindfulness. They are working in such a in different way. We don't mention these noble qualities in the noble eightfold path, but the same thing happened here. Same thing happened here. So while reflecting the Dhamma, it happens. So this is how it is. It says in Pali. I found it here. So this is the one actually. Manasanu. This is the very word. Yata sutang, yata paryattang, dhammang chetasa, anuitakketi, anuichareti, manasanu pekkati. These are the three important words here. Anuitakketi, anuichareti, manasanu pekkati. You are not thinking based on your personal prejudice, personal interpretation, you anuitakketi, anuichareti. You analyze the Dhamma, reflect the Dhamma as the Buddha taught, so that manasanupekkati, you open up your mind towards the Dhamma as the Buddha said. Because we are not perfect people. If we allow our mind to, govern in reflecting Dhamma, our mind could deceive us. So that we have to have those Dhamma elements, and we should become under those Dhamma elements in reflecting. In other words, our mind is not trained fully yet. Maybe ignorance is there, maybe some prejudice is there, maybe some theories of different teaching, different discipline should be in our mind grounded as we use, so that we may be wrong in some reflection, so that we have to have how the Buddha said this. Whether this, with this reflection, with this way of understanding, do we have craving, do we have attachment? So we have to have those criteria of the Dhamma to decide whether it is right and wrong in reflection. So I think relatively this would be difficult for people, because the first one, Buddha or your teacher is there for you to tell everything, and you are reflecting based on that. In the second time, you must be a very good person because you are teaching. In the second Vimuttayatana is about while you are teaching. And the third one, while you are reciting and also listening to the reciting. So this one is manasanupekkati. You direct your mind to think on certain things you already learned. We don't find anyone is there in front of you teaching something. So you yourself take the Dhamma elements you already worked on. So there you have piti, pamojja, piti, passaddhi, sukha, and samadhi. So the last one, we quickly go to that. Last one is about meditation. So karmasthana meditation. You take a meditation subject and continue to train your mind on that to gain the discipline. So that as a result of that, so you gain concentration. The same way it is said, the same way it is said, gladness arises, then piti arises, tranquility arises, then sukha arises, and then samadhi is completed. So commentary talks about excess concentration, and then you have that sustained concentration and so forth, and then whatever way. So you take the meditation subject, you do bhavana there. So in elsewhere we talk about with the bhavana practicing 7 factors of enlightenment with the word bhavana, like in Sabbasa Sutta. So anyway, this is basically talking about the approach. So the approach you take to the Dhamma is listening to the teacher, teaching the Dharma, and then reciting Dhamma, reflection on Dhamma, and now Bhavana. So we are talking about the approach. Due to the approach you take, you have this particular gladness, pamoj, then what do you call rapture, piti, then you have tranquility, passadhi, then you have sukha, happiness there, you have samadhi, and so forth. So these are the five grounds for freedom, or 5 ways of liberation, as the Buddha said. So that's the pretty much discourse. So now we move on to sharing our ideas on the discourse. Perhaps you can shed more light on the discussion. So the sutta with your own experience. So I see Dr. PL has raised his hand. Please take your time.
Bhante, this is one place in the Sutra text which talks about other options other than meditation. One can reach Nibbana. So the first 3, I would think, is like a Cheto Vimukti. In other words, you enter jhana. So pretty much a Bojjhanga Dhamma. In other words, you're listening to your mindful, right? So sati, Dhammavicaya, you're reflecting on this, and then you put the effort to it. So virya, sambojjhak, then priti, passadhi, samadhi, upeka, and pretty much so on develops. So in other words, this is Bojjhanga Dharma, development of Bojjhanga Dharma. So first 3 sounds to me like Samatha, Pubbanga, Vipassana. The fourth one, Vipassana, Pubbanga, Samatha. In this case, the person who start contemplating on the Dhamma, not really focusing on anything, but the contemplation of Dhamma, and the mind goes serene and enters jhana. Finally, obviously, the fifth quality is like meditation object, like anapanasati or anything. It could be either both cheto or prajna vimukti, depending on the object you use. So this is what I found is interesting. This is the only place, though, that I didn't see any other sutra in the whole of Nikayas talking about other than meditation. There are other options. Obviously, these people who have to have strong Indriya Dharma, right? I mean, their faculties are well developed to while listening to go into these samadhi states, or while reciting, or while teaching. So I guess these Sariputta, Mahamoggala, like those monks are very advanced, like faculties, I believe. So it's tough. So maybe most of us, maybe we had to stick to the fifth one, maybe. But I'm not just speaking in my experience. But it's interesting how this is given as other options in the sutra text. Yes, other than the
I like the way you analyzed the 5 ways to liberation with the 7 factors of enlightenment. That's remarkable, because that's how we learn the Dhamma. We have to have that knowledge to see all the Dhamma in one portion of the Dhamma. Like, it's called putting Dhamma into one section and analyze. So when you take the first 3, you see that they're like taking something from out, like you listened to the teacher or you teach. So that arising of Dhamma happenings with some external activities. But as you rightly say, when you come to the fourth one, it has some deep essence in it, because you cannot reflect unless you know something. So those individual who have heard about the Dhamma can do that over and over, so that they feel gladness, they feel joy, kind of security always is building in their mind against hindrances and other akusala, so that you are creating a wall in your mind to protect yourself from unwholesomeness. That could happen only for somebody who has already learned the Dhamma. I think that is their meditation too. I see that interrelations between these 5 Vimuttayatana too, because when you take a meditation subject, what you do in the meditation is putting Yoniso Manasikara into application, right? You are reflecting why this happened, why this happened. I try my best to let go of hindrances, why it doesn't happen, why. So you can question in the meditation. So let's take the 4th one. So you reflect the Dhamma. Type of meditation is that. So as you finally said, yeah, we don't see this kind of analysis elsewhere in the Tripitaka. This is a very remarkable discourse. And I add to that 2 words, Atta Patisangvedi, Dhamma Patisangvedi. Atta Veda and Dhamma Veda, these words are very meaningful. Because when we listen to the Dhamma, we listen to it and take points from our experience, from the way we learn. From we are totally individual people, and based on that individual experience. So something could happen to some individual who are not knowing much about the Dhamma. So that Buddha has given this very meaning, Atta Patisangvedi Dhamma. You should understand Dhamma not because you think in such a way, but because the reality says this, right? So, for example, I can say that this is my way of explaining Dhamma. I don't care about what the text says, what the tradition says. I don't care any of those monks and lay people. This is my way of interpreting. It is a harmful thing for the teaching. It is harmful for the entire dispensation. So that kind of things is taken out from this kind of analysis, Atta Patisangvedi Dhamma. And the other thing is, whatever you listen, whatever you say, Piti Pamojja Piti Passaddi Sukha Samadhi could arise in our mind. If that doesn't happen, it is not the right Dhamma you listen to. It is not the right training you are having, right? So it's a wonderful teaching actually. I agree with that. That there is no such analysis elsewhere in the Tripitaka, but here. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. And is there any other one? Is there any person who wants to discuss more on this aspect? Yeah, it's a relatively small discourse. You can read it with one breath, I would say. So take it and keep it in mind. Very interesting is keep this discourse in mind, because some people say that, oh, what is the purpose of chanting? We don't see. That's silly. What about meditation? These people who talk in such a way do not know the meditation, know the chanting as well. So you can tell that if you know the right meaning of the Dhamma and also the Dhamma, any practice in the name of the Dhamma could be useful for them. So not one way, there are actually different avenues. Once you gain Samadhi, you have to do the same thing like other people. As Dr. Pial said, Samatha Upangava, Vipassana Upangava, there are different ways to approach to the Dhamma, but at some point with perfect Samadhi, we have to do the same thing.
I guess the Buddha was so kind. I mean, he knew different people have different mental attributes. So he doesn't give you only one option. He gave all the possible options, laid everything on the table, a buffet. Like you choose what is suitable for you, your mindset. So it's amazing. So, I mean, there's so many optional pathways. At the end, obviously, you have to follow the Eightfold Path. But towards the end, it changes at the end. Yeah. Anyway, Indi has a question. Oh, you don't?
What
Sorry.
is that question?
No, but only thing is, I find it very interesting, the chanting, because I know some people, older people, I have seen, they chant, they keep chanting, and you can always see, like,
they're so peaceful and blissful when they come out. Even if you go and talk to them, they have a big smile in their face. So there must be something going on there. Interesting.
I used to always wonder about this, because, and now I see that,
there's a possibility there,
because they always chant and they're in that real blissful state always.
Yeah. Actually, I should be frank here that when many Sri Lankans do chanting, it doesn't sound good because some people who strive on the Dhamma for a long time know how to chant, but a lot of people do not know how to pronounce those words. But look at Thai people, look at Burmese people.
That is
I'm
so
not
true.
talking about the monastic. I'm talking about the lay people. Even Bangladesh people, they do a very nice chanting, but we have failed in a certain way to do that.
That is so true.
Even you go to temple, you see when the monks chant aloud together, but it's very quiet. Everyone is so quiet. Doesn't even attempt to chant. I mean, even to follow the words. So,
but older people, I know, because my mother, for example, she chants from morning till night.
And never gets bored.
Never gets bored. And she chants beautifully. And she's always happy.
And it's like food. Like she takes the book and it's like something to eat. Like, okay, I'm going to chant.
That's right. I think you remember, you know, the story of Velukantaki Nandamata. At the time of the Buddha, she woke up every day in the early morning around, I think, 4, when the sun rising is starting, and chanted Parayana Gatha. It says Parayana. So even the divine beings come and listen to her. Actually, she was a powerful woman. Where she was an Anagami.
Exactly.
So anyway, that chanting, made even divine beings to stop their usual work and listen to it. I think that's one of the channel we can make others. Can
you have a session of having a meditation day? We're going to chanting day.
I actually thought about this 2 days ago because I was so embarrassed to hear some chanting of people, because there were 20 people from for a small program, and we give a command, say sadhu, say namaskar, and so forth, but nobody tell anything. So then and there I had to advise people, you came to do a puja, and now when I ask you to say namotas, you don't do. How could we do puja?
That is so true.
I felt really embarrassed because how could we get blessings unless you do chanting, and your mind is somewhere else when you are not chanting? So the benefit of chanting is multiple. Your mind is taken to the present moment where you sit, and your mind is there with chanting, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not happening when you are in silent in chanting. So bravely some people are so loud in chanting. It's not nice either. So we have to find the right tune with the group in chanting, so that it becomes bees make sounds. Right?
There's an English book, Bhante G's chanting manual, the brown book. It's very good. A lot of people.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Book of chanting. It's beautiful, tall one, and it gives I think a lot of the foreigners. I think they use that to chant. I mean, they do chant. We know our chants, but we don't want to chant.
And even the Buddha was not entering into halls where Sangha chanted, because even the Buddha appreciated in chanting of those monks, because chanting makes animals around calm and peaceful, and that's why on the Uposatha day, which means the full moon day, Buddha advised monks to come and do chanting for the security of for the well-being of, and also for the well-being of invisible living beings, because out of those natural sounds with wind and things, this is made one with compassion you do, so that it has some effect on natural object as well as animals around. So we should actually, instead of so many Dhamma classes for Dhamma sermon, we should have formed chanting sessions. So actually, we thought about this 2 days ago, because at the end you have some sort of training, because understanding Dhamma in an analytical way would be difficult for some people, but chanting would be an easy way for people to actually get some sort of Dhamma. So that I like that idea, and I'm going to do that definitely.
Yeah, this is the book. I don't know if you can see it.
Did you share it here?
No, just showing it on the camera.
Yeah.
Bhavana Vandana.
Oh, yes. I think I have it here. Yeah.
You have, yeah.
Yeah,
Bhante.
you know, Bhante ji always recommend those newcomers to
Yeah.
follow it.
Yeah.
So actually, if you go to the Bhavana Monastery every day morning, they chanted one page or two, in addition to those 5 precepts and things like that. Doesn't matter where you come from. You have the book and you have to chant.
It's true.
So that makes a lot. And after the 10 days or 15 days residence there, you come with something. Perhaps you forget all these big teaching, but you have some ways of chanting in your mind. So that helps them to actually rely on the certain Dhamma they practice. That's perfect. I think nobody is talking today except 3 of us. Anyway, I know that they are very interested in those things, because some of those friends who never talk to me later through emails and telephone calls, and when we meet in person, that shows how good they are in picking up some Dhamma points, and they practice. So that we really appreciate your participation. So I think I should finish the Sutta discussion today, right now today, because tomorrow is a busy day for me with the POE program, and if I have enough energy, I would deliver a Dhamma sermon from 10:30 to 12. That is for Sri Lankans in Sri Lanka. So anyway, because of these programs today and tomorrow, I should end today's Sutta studies. If you have any interesting discourse, you are welcome to inform me, and I like to select it, because that shows that you have interesting discourses. It means to me and everybody else that you are reading discourses. If you don't like me to say that you send it, I don't. Otherwise, I can tell that this is sent to me by this so and so. So it's up to you. Anyway, you can select discourses and let me know about it, and we can discuss them in the Sutta discussion. So having said that, I just want to summarize. Today we discussed the Vimuttayatana Sutta from Anguttara Nikaya, section number 5. Sutta number is 26. You can go into this course to read it further if you like it. Next time, we don't know which sutta we select, but anyway, definitely a wonderful sutta. May these blessings from this sutta discussion be with you. I think this sutta discussion is related to the first point of the Vimuttayatana, and the fourth point, and perhaps here and there in other points, so that what we did was practicing Dhamma in the name of Sila, Samadhi and Panya. By the power of these merits, may you enter into Nirvana Dharma and sustain there further and attain Nirvana. Complete your Nirvana. May you be able to complete your Nirvana in this very moment or very life. With that thought in mind, sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.